As promised, we're doing our usual Monday stream, and I have to make sure that I didn't get cut off when I started the upload. So give me a second. Not upload the stream, rather. Yeah, I like how the one time I try to check out if my stream is working or not, the Wi-Fi starts acting up. Class act. It always goes that way when I just needed to briefly see something, it starts to delay, and then you spend like a whole minute just trying to see if your own stream is working or if the part that you started as your introduction got cut off. Okay, good. Good. It didn't. So what happened is that I started to speak and I didn't see the live part on the side show up, so I thought I was talking before the thing actually went off or not. I'm gonna see if we can get like maybe 5, 6, 7 people before we get into the main topic. 'Cause I usually like to do that since people like to ask me to reiterate what I already said because they're showing up late. It's like, please tell me what was stated before I appeared. I can't just replay it at a later point or infer. I tell you, I never do that on anybody's stream where like I come an hour late. Like unless I know that they're gonna like delete it or something. I always just go with whatever is currently being said as like the basis to know what was probably talked about before I showed up. Also, I thought about changing the name of the stream on Saturday to something else because when I put people who don't make anything, I was going to talk about how like there are a lot of people who just are very impatient with stuff that's being made by somebody else. And I think if more people actually had to create stuff, they would understand that a lot of times you can't just click your heels and make something happen. But I left the title that way because while I do not necessarily mind what it turned into, which was a Dragon Ball and Naruto discussion, I don't really like um, how a lot of times you have people that will attack someone over their opinion for like having a position that is not akin to their own. So I left it with that title because I'm not trying to start something by talking about this. Like if I put as the title, you know, Dragon Ball waste characters, the Akatsuki were wasted, something like that, right? That just kind of infers my position. You'll have some fans of that stuff that might come and attack me, which has happened before. Just it's not worth it. So that's why it's gonna stay that way. I did have one person who tried to like. I always hate it when people respond to a title. I don't know. It's just because it's like when I do a video, I make the video, then I decide the title. When I do a stream, I put a title, and then maybe that's what I'll talk about. Sometimes it just organically, as the conversation goes on, shifts to other stuff. It's just really irritating because people act like I know before I start streaming how the stream is going to go when I don't. I had this one stream about that mayor that ran for president, and then all of a sudden I'm having some guy that gets angry at me for not debating him on the merits of another politician that has nothing to do with what we're talking about, and getting mad because I won't argue with him. I always remember that stream. That was insane. Like someone is angry that you won't debate them about your opinion. Like I'm good. If you want to dislike this person, be my guest. I just think that's funny. Like so many times people get mad because they're having a debate or an argument, and then somebody's like, I don't want to argue with you. And then they're like, ugh. I really wish I hadn't gotten rid of that stuff because if you watch the stream and like just see me ignore all the stuff he's writing because I'm trying to not argue with him because I know that all that's going to happen is I'm going to get called dumb and then he's going to go and run off somewhere, and then he still like basically in like a backhanded way calls me dumb and then runs off and then later on admits that he acted like a crazy person. It was really comedic. Yeah, just waiting for a few more people. Doesn't have to be 10, it could be 5, it could be 6, it could be 7. So we'll just wait here a little bit. I'm not in some big hurry. The usual length of these things is an hour and a half, and we still have enough time to like go over the stuff that upsets me. Um, I might read Boruto. I don't know. I'm just because I remember that manga starts off with a retelling of the movie, and I was really irritated by that because when the manga first came out, the movie was the last new thing we had in terms of, I guess, content. So it's like you make a film that people like, I guess, and then you take the film and you put it in book form. Like, I just hate it when people take something that you can just watch and put it in like the form of a comic. Like, I don't mind movie novelizations, right? Because they come out when films come out, so you have like the option of reading it to know what happens in the movie, and also a lot of times they add in details that weren't in the film itself, like they expand on certain stuff because they have more time, or the writer is like trying to spice things up with their own dialogue and whatnot. But like I remember IDW did Star Wars comics that were like a retelling of, I think it was an Empire, The Empire Strikes Back. It's like, why do I need to? Why can't you just skip over this? Like, what is the point of taking a film that I can just watch and wasting our time for 6 months? Whatever. So that's just how I feel about that stuff. Now, I remember this the novelization for I think it was Spider-Man 2, where where they had it to where they throw in the fact that Doc Ock and his wife couldn't have kids, and that's why he was like so happy to see this very brilliant young man in Peter, and then how his tentacles see him as their protector and their father, and like he was already dead by the time they were going in the water, and they're begging and crying for him to save them, and they don't want to die after being alive for such a short amount of time. It's really, there's a lot of added in details in those novelizations that it it's hard to convey in the form of a movie sometimes, because in films you don't really get that, like just descriptions, so it's I like them. Yeah, I might finally get around to editing one of those game videos I was talking about doing. I have a lot of matches I recorded. I just haven't sat down, because the thing is, I keep having to remind myself it's not just you put the footage and then you talk over it, because I have to edit it as well, for like time constraints. And sometimes there's parts of the game that I don't think anybody wants to watch. So uh, I'll try to see if I can do it this week, because I don't think I'm doing another edited romance video at least for another week or so. The next one will probably be the never ending accidental pregnancies, where we talk about how people like know someone that got pregnant who says it's with a man they weren't married to, and it was a mistake basically, and then they keep doing the same thing over and over, and like it never stops. And we actually have proof that the record of times this happens across ethnic groups has increased over the last 20 years, and how it's really telling when these people who try to tell you about uh you know you're supposed to be able to connect with the woman and all this. It's like, but the men they get with, they don't even stay with. So how are these relationships any better than they ever were if they're landing more people with kids they can't afford, or otherwise having to raise by themselves because they decided to let someone stick a banana inside of them instead of putting a ring on their finger first. So we'll have a pretty fun time doing that video. Because it's pretty similar to the other one. We've got like screenshots making fun of like certain ridiculous stuff that people write, and excuses and the rest of that. And it really resonates with me because I mentioned a long time ago that one of the only things that I even looked forward to with getting a date was the prospect of getting married and having children. And so to see people who are like able to have that without the marriage part and then watch it just crumble over and over again, it's really like validating of my position as to why it was very important to have a kid within the confines of marriage because there's a smaller chance of you divorcing somebody than breaking up with a person because people break up all the time, you know. As I said, people just they don't try to make anything work anymore. They don't care about anybody but themselves. That's why they have kids they can't afford. Because we even have in the video statistics that show that there are couples who after 1 or 2 months won't even use condoms anymore. They just like they don't even want to be parents, but they just don't care about protecting themselves at a certain point. And we have videos on here where people admit that they don't like to use condoms because they like to feel the person or something stupid. But you know, it's really scary, that people just have all these children they can afford over and over. And then you have these individuals who try to defend these people. Well, mostly women, right? They defend them. They're like, oh, she was young and she didn't, she made a mistake. It's like the reason I can never get behind that kind of stuff is because when I have people online telling me about how awful of a human being I am or have to be because I'm not with a woman, it's like you don't get to tell me about my personality defects, but then the person who causes another life to exist without the resources to take care of it is not worse than me. It's just it's one of those things where it's like who did the most damage, and what I do is never going to equate to that. I'm also going to mention the part where on Discord I got called selfish for not talking to women anymore, not approaching them, or some crazy thing, right? And I was like, I'm selfish for not talking to women that aren't interested in me and having my time wasted. But people who have kids they can't afford because they don't want to wear rubber are are not selfish. You see how it's like really backwards. But that goes back to my point of how a lot of people when they get in these groups on these websites, like it's really validating to them, and it gets to a point where they don't even have to say things that make sense anymore. Like a lot of times I was tempted to say that all women act this way, like where they just waste men's time. But you know, as much as I despise the dingbat with the baby, she did not do this to the man she was with. Like, yes, she cheated him out of his money. Yeah, she stole from him. He lost a lot of his resources, doing stuff behind her. But he didn't have to like sit there and have to talk to her for 8, 9, 10 months to get a date, or get tricked into thinking that she liked him when she didn't. Like what I'm saying is, as bad as a person as I think she is, at the very least, she did something different from what most of these women I've encountered do, which is actually like deliver on the premise of being interested in him. So stuff like that is what would prevent me from just saying that they all do the same thing. Even though, as far as I'm concerned, like stuff with me personally, they act similar to each other, like clones. Mm. I guess we might as well start this, and then if people show up, we can just go from there. So the reason the stream has the title that it does is because I wanted to talk about. It's not even just romance; it's just like in general, what was the point? Like for example, my show is going to have at least 60 episodes. I've written the script for up to 60 over almost 2 years ago. It was like October of 2019 when I wrote the last one, and even if they come out slowly, I still have every intention of actually making them because I don't write scripts for my health. I actually want to see it get made, and the music, the art, all the rest of that stuff. But if I was someone hypothetically who just like wrote scripts, didn't publish them or put them out in like any capacity, I would look at that and say, well, what's the point? Why am I just having this private story? Like the idea is that even if it's something as minor as a YouTube video that doesn't even get 100 views, it still is a thing that had a purpose to being made. Just like when I did the Taft and Andrew Johnson documentaries, it was like 2 years ago. The purpose of doing those two particular presidents, and like still to this day wanting to do ones on the other ones, but just like not having the space on my computer and whatnot, was because I wanted heads of state that I didn't think were thought about often or researched often or really discussed in depth that much at all, to have the spotlight on them, even if it was on a channel that, again, usually doesn't get 100 views. So even with something as minor as me making a video, there's still a purpose to it. It's not just being created, or like, I'm writing a script that never is going to be made into what I think it should be. When I look at a bunch of women, right, that just go and talk to these men on social media, and a bunch of people who like tell you to do all this stuff to maybe possibly have the chance of interacting, it just feels like what's the point if the person is not going to like you back? If they're such a prick that they can't even just say I'm not interested, they have to have this like really long dragged out journey to finally saying I just want to be friends, or I don't like you back, or whatever other variation they might use. I just don't see the purpose in it. Like stuff such as that really is bizarre to me. And it goes back to how people, when they talk about this romantic stuff, don't like nuance. They don't like to really think about things in a way that's more complicated than just, oh, this person is ugly. Oh, this person lacks whatever fatal flaw you decide to assign to them. It's like, we talked about this on another stream. It's like rejection by itself is annoying, but if it's just you go up to somebody, ask for their number, they say no, whatever. But all of the time that just gets wasted, like talking to women that don't like you back. And it's like people, instead of saying, yeah, there's something wrong with individuals who just want to waste people's time, right? They just double down. Oh, just talk to more women. It's like, yeah, just have more of your time wasted as a way of finally getting someone that is not wasting it. But see, that's what always like frustrated me the most about the chick stuff. It was that, like as I became an adult, I had more and more encounters with them where you can't just have the direct, want to go on a date? No. All right. Thank you for your time. Goodbye. It's always like, um, it's just dragged out. It's stretched out to be, this continuous event. And people, they think you're supposed to put up with that. And they also think you're not supposed to get upset to such an extent that you say, all right, screw it. I'm not bothering with them anymore. And this isn't the only thing I've seen that's similar to this. We talked about how there was a place that hired me in April. And when that happened, I was very excited. I, was literally like jumping for joy, because it had been, just so long of asking all these different places to hire me, and like going to interviews and filling out dozens of applications. And I guess people will never understand what that's like to have something that you consider like very basic of like wanting a job, and then people call you lazy. And even though you try so hard to get one and you do everything that they tell you to do to get it, go on interviews, fill out the applications, and then they just assign all these different faults to you. Oh, it's probably your resume. Oh, the position you're seeking, you're not qualified for, all this like fan fiction stuff that they create, right? Because remember, we're not talking about applying to be CEO of Microsoft. We're talking about being a team member at some restaurant or some other position where they outright say, yeah, you don't need to have 900 other positions under your belt to do this. And it's like you get hired there, you think, okay, well, you tell them what you want, that you want to work 40 hours a week, be able to take care of yourself, whatever, and then you barely get used. You might have 2 or 3 days of work in total, and during those 2 or 3 days, it's not even a full shift. It's like 3-4 hours, and then after one day of doing stuff in the kitchen, because the other 4 days were like preliminary stuff. You're filling out stuff on the computer, you're doing stuff with the phones. One day in the kitchen, you got the manager threatening to fire you after a single day of doing stuff that you told them before they hired you didn't know how to do. And I guess I always look back at that situation because it, I don't think about it as much, although I do, like, it comes back to me here and there, but it's like, what was the point? What's the point of hiring someone who wants a full-time position, right? As they say in their application, and giving them part-time. What's the point of having someone employed at your restaurant for a month and only using them 9 times in 30 days? What's the point of having a person on their first day of doing stuff in the kitchen, their fifth day, getting so upset after you've been made aware before you even hired them they didn't know how to do this stuff, and then threatening to get rid of them after one day of doing this stuff? It just goes back to my thing of how, like, I believe there is something sick in people, and it's not. I don't want to call it evil. I don't want to call it like villainy, but there is like a thing in people where they feel like they have to waste someone else's time, and they might not do it directly. They might not specifically target that person, but there's like a thing in them where they have to, like, screw with someone else in a way. Like, I'll never understand what the purpose of hiring somebody and then, like, doing all those different weird things was. I don't get that personally. But I used as an example of how it's just strange to me to employ someone who wants to work full time, part time, and then after being told before you hire them that they don't have experience with this stuff, getting so mad that you threaten to fire them after one day of doing those things. And how, it's like you spent such a long time looking for a position, and then the one you get is like being really ridiculous and unfair and just, screwing you up. Yeah, then you have the women who do accept you, but they flake, lead you on for attention, and expect you to court them for nothing in return. Well, we haven't even gotten to her yet, because around that same time that I was dealing with the stupid stuff from that restaurant, I had, and we did a video about this, the woman asked me on a date and then backflips. But I guess it goes back to the thing of like flaking, right? Like, you have this person online who asks you on a date, a woman asks you on a date, you accept, right? And you start thinking, oh my God, maybe this is finally like the BS might be lifted for once, right? Because I said before, I've never had one of them ask me directly, nothing like that. Um, and then you think, okay, this person lives in the same state as you, because a lot of them tend to live all over the world, which is, so this is like a good thing. You can actually drive to where they are, and you think, okay, well, this seems to be going well, right? And then you get the backflips. Oh, I thought I liked you, but I just got really confused. And before that, you get the dragging out. So instead of, here's this person like online that lives kind of like close to me, let me go on a date with them after scheduling to meet in some public vicinity. Um, oh, I want to get to know you first, which again, we've already been over. Nebulous term, has no defined meaning, purposely designed to, like, waste your time. Because, you know, what amount of time qualifies as getting to know someone first? You see what I mean? Like, it's just like you saw the video where the chick said, I believe you would prematurely cut off a woman that was in, some nonsense, right? But again, like, no, these words, right, don't have defined settings of time. So they can always be, like, manipulated and pushed around to be whatever amount of time this person thinks in their head that they're not going to tell you. Like, it's when it's not defined, it's dangerous because they're trying to get you to capitulate to something that they just, can predetermine, or they can randomly think of. And, a lot of times it is ridiculous and they won't explain it. And she never did explain what is the amount of time that qualifies as getting to know someone. Phone the charger. And then you see the other stipulations, right? Oh, I'm scared to meet you privately. Okay, well, we can meet in a public place, like I don't know, library. Well, I guess I might use a library, but police station. I even use that as an example. Oh, I want you to meet my parents. And I'm just thinking, and it's like some other person maybe might not have thought that was a big deal, but I guess think of it from my position, right? You get told over and over again there will be this magic woman that likes you enough to go on a date. And then you have one of them ask you on a date, and then they're putting up all of these stipulations. And it's like, why do you have to meet two other people who, if this person doesn't like you, you're never going to interact with again, so that you can sit across this person at a table or with them at a movie theater for 2 hours? You know what I mean? Like all this extra stuff just for something so frivolous, minor. And again, eventually you get her to just block me and lie to her mother and say that she told me to stop, all this BS, right? But it's like, what was the point? You just had 2 or 3 weeks of your time wasted with a person who just led you on. I hear women enjoying weed, drugs, and alcohol in order to go with her. You have to do them kind of things in order to be with her. Yeah, well, juice isn't worth the squeeze. I'm not going to destroy myself with any of that stuff. So somebody will like me back. Imagine how insane I would look if I said, if a woman wants to go on a date with me or be with me, she has to do weed and drugs and alcohol. Like, that sounds like an anime villain. I told you, man, I don't have any of these like ridiculous stipulations that these people put up. But again, that encounter with her is like analogous to the restaurant stuff where it's just something that you've been waiting for or wanted for a long time seems to finally present itself. And then it's just more of the same old crap. And it leads you to say, well, what was the point of, this person presenting themselves as if they're different from the rest if I'm just going to get the same result? You shouldn't have to change your entire lifestyle to be with her other than compromising for possible cohabitation if it even goes that far. Well, look, we talked about this before. It's like you accept chicks over and over for stuff that you don't really like. Like, for example, I talked about the one chick I liked that was blind, and I accepted that person when they had a trait that I don't really find appealing. Like, I'm not interested in people that have physical disabilities. But again, it's like I'm not opposed to someone who has that stuff either. But you see what I'm saying of how like you keep accepting individuals that have traits or things you don't necessarily find attractive, but if you still like the person for who they are, it doesn't matter, which is why it's all the more frustrating to have these people do all of this like psychoanalysis and try to paint you as being this person with ridiculously high standards, which is very ironic as you're accepting all these different people who aren't meeting your standards in some specific way for who they are, in spite of that. James, you want to comment on my channel? You have to do weed, drugs, and alcohol. So you got 5 minutes to make a video showing yourself doing these things. Dude, who do these chicks think they are? Like, who does all that for a date? I know what you mean, though. You keep compromising on your preferences while they expect you to check off their long bucket list. Yeah, bucket lost. I mean, hell, some of them, if you get with them, you will lose. Like, I'm telling you, I would rather be single forever than be with the dingbat with the baby. Like, who wants to be with the person that that through them like flapping their gums, right, caused them to lose hundreds of dollars on a place you have to pay for monthly so she can keep her stuff somewhere that I guess is safe. And then at the same time as you're doing this, she's cheating on you, cursing you out over the phone. Then like 3 years later, you have a kid with her that you can't afford. And then as you're the one paying for like all this different stuff, she's so lazy she can't clean the house, and she accuses you of being a deadbeat, even though you're the only source of income for your kid. Like, who wants that? Does that sound appealing to anybody? I'd love to know. I'd really love to know. Somebody write in the comments or in the live chat. Do you think that sounds like something you would want to do or put up with? You're like, yeah, sign me up. And no, it doesn't sound appealing at all. But like I said, that guy really believes that's the only woman that would ever like him back. So, just like year after year, he puts up with the BS, and it's really scary because it shows you how there's like I don't know if I'm using the proper word, Stockholm effect, but like it's the idea that someone is so desperate. He's not desperate as far as being, financially tied to this woman. He's not desperate as in, like, oh, if I'm not with her, I'm scared I'll lose. It's like he's desperate because he's so starved and drained, like a lot of other men, of attention from a woman that even the most screwed up, degenerate broad in the world, which this one isn't, but she still is not good, can just show up and mistreat him and he'll put up with it. And remember, Brandon, this isn't like because that when the timeline of this is that in 2016 he was just paying for the storage unit while getting cursed out, cheated on, whatever. 2 years ago, she pops out this kid. So now if he leaves her, there's a chance that he can get put on child support, especially since apparently she doesn't work anymore. So um, this goes back to my point of how it just became worse and worse, and he just kept putting up with it while it continued to get worse and worse because he doesn't think another woman will like him back. And it saddens me to say it. I take no joy in saying it, but he might be right. I mean, as far as I'm aware, he himself has never been accused of cheating. It's always her that has two or three other guys, showing interest. I mentioned that one time I was at the mall and I saw her and some other man hugged up on each other, and I was like, I know that's not who I think it is, and it was. They didn't see me. I was because I my eyesight is better with the glasses. I was like, oh my god, he's trapped at this point. R.I.P. But again, this goes back to how like when those people give this romantic advice, they never tell you about some of the goddamn snakes that have triangles. They never mention very bad things that happen to men, mostly via their association with a woman that they like romantically. Because if for example, right, if my little brother was my little sister, I could see myself paying for her storage unit in that scenario because I mentioned before that my brother's basically the only person I would actually pay for stuff for because that's a kid. But it's like this is a broad he dated for I think a year or two before that happened, who got herself kicked out of where she lived by running her mouth, and then he had to pay for it. And like I said, this stuff goes back to how like when you're a man, you're just screwed. Like imagine cursing out the people where you live, and then here comes my girlfriend to bail me out. It would never happen because when people on here say, "What do you have to offer women?" The only thing most of these women have to offer you is the triangle. That's why nobody ever tells them to get their money up or aim to do that. That's why every time you talk to one of them on social media and they accuse you of trying to flirt with them, even on websites like Twitter or Discord that have nothing to do with romantic stuff at all, like they know that the only thing appealing about them is the triangle, that they have nothing else to offer. Know the storage guy who funded some chick's lifestyle? I told you will never see the reverse version of that. These women be insecure too. But like I said, you wouldn't see like I told you the biggest irony in the world, right? Is having a bunch of men accuse you of being broke or whatever, and it's like you're really gonna sit here and act like it's men that are poor when we have chicks that literally like. Why do you think the word gold digger is associated with women? Because they're like known for meeting someone and using them for what they own because they don't have anything themselves. You get why that's ironic? Like they accuse all these men they've never met before of being so like destitute and broken. It's like, but look at the chicks. Why do you think that every time you see, at least every time I've seen a romantic relationship where somebody pays for the other person's stuff, it's the man paying for the woman? No, they're entrepreneur. Dude, look, most chicks are not famous. Most chicks don't have like this is the thing. If the aggregate of women that are actually making something on these social media websites is very small, like to where they can become very rich or wealthy. Because like even though people sit here and they talk about how hot chicks are, and they like 30 men talking, like most of them are still not giving them anything because they're if they're on a website like Reddit, they don't have some donate button on there. Men and women love to run their mouth because it's only a image they have to keep up. That's why fighting over a chick is a bad idea, and we'll find out where you live. Well, I don't fight over any of them because I assume the position that none of them are worth doing all that stuff for. Like you can literally have a woman you talk to for like weeks or months that tells you, "Oh, you mean so much to me," and all the rest of the trash. And then 1, 2, 3 weeks after she stops talking, she's talking to some other guy and telling him the same stuff. Not anymore. OnlyFans is banning nude content. It's so sad watching people simp over these social media influencers. Everyone's a temporarily embarrassed millionaire. Like I said, if you have to become rich to get a date, that's how you know that there's something wrong with just even talking to chicks at this point. If you have to do something so ridiculous as to become a millionaire, whatever your definition of rich is, to maybe get a woman to actually like you and want to do things with you, that is insane. And that should show you that there's no purpose in even bother. Like, and that's why I said it's like, if I was wealthy, I would not care about getting married. Like I would just go and pay for hookers because it's like at least with them up front they tell you we only like you because you can pay for us. They're banning depictions of X are still allowed. The reason why I haven't gotten it yet is because I'm making 6 figures instead of 10. Like I said, if you look at the people in my comment section right now, that crazy stuff, none of them ever proved they were with anybody. And I said before, anybody come on here, put up a picture or like no picture and say, "Oh yeah, I'm sitting here with my girlfriend in my Lamborghini." Just like I told you about I didn't mention who it was in the video because I don't want to like start conflict with them because they don't seem like someone that actually is trying to be hostile or evil or anything. Yeah, we'll get into that 500 push-up thing later, but it's like you have a guy who makes a video called "How to Get a Girlfriend," and then he admits he's only ever dated one person, and I'm like, how the hell do you like? Do you understand where you would think a person who feels as if they are qualified to give romantic advice would actually have like on how to get a partner, right? Would actually have multiple partners to show for it. You see where like it's skipping and it doesn't really connect. Dating is probably extra trash when you're rich because you can't be sure who isn't just interested in you for your money. Well, that's my point. That I don't believe a lot of like this goes back to the simplistic, narrow-minded BS that men on the computer have, right? Oh, just be rich and then a woman will like you. It's like, but then you're worried about if this person likes for who you are or for your wealth, and then you can reasonably infer it's probably for your wealth because it's like I don't know any men personally that go around wondering, I want this woman, I think she's attractive, but I wonder how much money she has. It's always men that are expected to, be wealthy for some reason. So you get the idea that I would rather have someone attracted to me for how I look as opposed to what I own. Like it's such a douchebag thing to do. Like all that matters about you as a person is how you look or what you own. And I already said beauty's in the eye of the beholder. Like and that's why the chick stuff drives me crazy online because I remember back when I was in like middle school and high school, they would regularly talk about classmates that were girls that we thought were ugly. So it's like the Twilight Zone to come online and have people act like every chick is so beautiful and amazing. And it's like, who are you kidding? I think I mentioned on my other stream that when I was in 12th grade, I had this science class where it was like an open forum where like the teacher would just let people scream and shout and whatever. And one day, one of the students just sat like right in the middle of the class, and he was like, "That girl is so goddamn ugly." And the other was like, "I know, right? Wouldn't I, Sword?" I started laughing because they were looking at. I think we knew who they were talking about because they didn't say her name as loudly, but I just always remember that when I think of people acting like every single woman is out of your league. Like all of them are just so amazingly beautiful, and you need to do 9 trillion different steps to possibly, dare to be sought after ever by one. It's like, who are you kidding? I don't think I've ever heard a dude say, "How much money do you think she makes?" Never. Yeah, because chicks make money for themselves. They don't want to financially support slash provide for a man. Right. And see, again, I'm not expecting any of them to do that, but I feel like it should go both ways. Like I'll say it again, I have never, out of all the chicks I've spoken to, I have never given a single one of them a goddamn cent because it does not make any sense to me why I should have to pay for a woman that is not related to me, who can just go and pick some other man up whenever she wants. I've never given one of them anything financially. Doesn't make any sense to do so. So it's selective feminism. Like I hate gender norms except the ones that. Yes, that's why we had the video called "Why Do Men Get Rejected Over and Over," where we talked about the equality myth, where it's like, oh yeah, the new era is so much better because women have the right to turn men down, and like we want to be equal and on equal footing. That's why we expect the man to earn more than us, and we expect the man to approach. And you get the idea that there's certain things that are like beneficial to them that were around 50, 60 years ago that they do like, but because they're trying to peddle their like feminist BS, they can't admit it. So they have to. It's like they want a weird mashed up system where they don't have to do any work, right? Except be like overly selective while you're like still doing things that are similar to what men did in the 50s and 60s, except with like more negative results because of like this ridiculously high standards that almost nobody can meet, which is why you have whole groups of men online talking about how hard it is to get a date. No, there was a whole section in that video called the equality myth, where like I had the broad that said that 30, 40, 50 years ago, women were given to men like cattle, which, let me tell you how stupid she is, right? And look, I don't care anymore because she treated me like trash. Last year, when I first started speaking to her again, it's during the second part of the Thought trilogy, she said that if her dad died, she would kill herself, right? So that means she loves her dad so much that being without him is like, you don't even want to live anymore, right? Which I'm not making fun of that, but listen to this, okay? So she's over 30 years old, right? So according to her own timeline, right, her dad got with her mother during the period in which, according to her, not me, women were given to men like cattle. So her mother was with her dad not because she actually liked him and chose to be with him, but because she was given to him like a slave, right? You see how that's ironic that under her own version of reality, which again is not actually what happened, you can reasonably infer her own like dad is like a slave owner, the same one that she cares so much about to where she wanted to off herself if something happened to him. You don't see the irony? Women have more options, but they'll never admit it. Of course not. You know what? came, we can actually go over several things that are like just specifically targeted to screw over men. How often have you seen men say, "Oh, this woman's hot, but she's only 5'3"? She's only 5'5"?" How often have you seen people say they won't date a woman because she's short? How often have you seen people go, "Man, this woman, she has a nice chest, nice face, nice backside, but she wears glasses, so I don't like her." How often have you seen that? Because I did have some sick bastards that actually tried to say, take off those glasses," as if they like, yeah, you just take them. You know, they really think like people believe in fiction. They think I'm like Clark Kent, and when I take them off, there's like a whole different appearance. Remember, Superman's glasses are like that, where he puts them on and people can't tell he's Superman. No, never. Brandon, they have a whole damn show. It's called Little Johnston's, I think, about a couple, a man and a woman who are both very short, like they're midgets, right? Who have six adopted children that are midgets. And I think in the show we actually see some of the girls, like the midget girls, date like boys that are much taller than them, and like nobody looks at that and goes, "What the hell," or anything. This woman is beautiful. But dude, you know, but that's what kills when people are like analyzing what clothes a man has on. It's like, again, I've seen women that I think are attractive wear stuff I don't like, and you still think they're hot. So what? Also, let me say thank you to David. David, yeah, I'm still saving up for it, man. I gotta. I'm just trying to make sure I have enough for it because I don't exactly just go around spending 1,000 on stuff just willy nilly. So I appreciate it. Women in general prefer men who are taller than them. There are so many polls proving this. No, no, I'm not saying they don't. I'm simply telling you that I have seen men date women that are tall, women who are short, and it doesn't. It's really ironic that like people like they make like the way I look at it is this: if you're a man, you have all these different like basic things you have to do according to people online to make to just possibly even get a woman to like you back. But if you're a woman, you can have any defect or thing a man doesn't like, and you can still pick somebody up. I mean, we already went over this. We talked about Susan Smith, how she killed two of her kids, and then I drowned them, and then had like guards in prison trying to screw her. You know, it's like there's almost like as long as you and I fully believe this, as long as you have a triangle, you can do anything, look any kind of way, and you can find a man. Oh, of course, as men, we typically just don't care about something like height, yet it's harder for us to be accepted. Yeah, but that's why it's so ironic that we accept people actively, right? More often than not. Because again, there's a reason you don't see a female version of the I word. You don't see women sitting on a forum talking about, I can't get a man to like me back. You ever notice that? Like, there's a reason that's not the case. Because men accept chicks however they are, and if you're a man, you have to fit into this really tight, narrow box, you know, just to possibly get the slightest bit of attention from a woman. Yeah, I seen guys date tall, short, old. Yeah, dude, that chick that I was gonna go on a date with, uh, you know, like, and again, I don't like to sit here and talk about people's appearances. I'm not, you know, that's not really what I like to do. I like to talk about ridiculous because the problem with her is still the way she acted, which was insane. But that certainly is someone that would definitely not fit into my type. It's like you got this broad who it's like, yeah, she has a nice looking face, and I guess she's skinny as well, but she like cut off a bunch of her hair. Her hair is really short, and it's like, yeah, that's not. Again, you accept people for stuff for having like certain things you don't like, and then all people do is like try to get you to conform to this narrow description of what they think the perfect man is. It's just because they have more options. Yeah, but like I said, it's ironic to have people sitting here judging men for their personalities that they've never met. When, if anything, the collective personality of men says that we accept chicks no matter what condition or position they're in, while not being accepted. Like I even had this catchphrase before. You preach acceptance while being met with intolerance. Like you have to accept every type of broad ever, right? But then if you want to be accepted, oh, it's too much. You don't get the irony of that, like, thank you for accepting all of these different women for who they are, regardless of if you want to date them or not, and acknowledging the fact that even if you don't personally like the way somebody looks, that should not bar them from getting a partner. In exchange for your acceptance, you will be met with intolerance as men attack you for your physical appearance, your personality, and any other trait in between. Yeah, you preach acceptance while being met with intolerance. Like you accept all these different chicks that don't fit into your, because we all have like standards, right? Stuff we like more than other things. And sometimes people don't meet them, but if you like the person for who they are, if they're nice to you, if you still think they're attractive anyway, like the blind chick I still thought was attractive both in terms of her personality and the way she looks. So I didn't really care if she couldn't see. And it's like, in exchange for accepting this person, you get an attempted friend zone and told that you're moving things along too fast. I'm like, man, get out of here. That's what I said. You don't get the irony. It's like, oh, okay. Let me read what came. In my observation, many women even reject men who fit their criteria. Dude, you know what's BS when people like? Let me tell you something. Chicks are way more shallow than people give them credit for. Like they always have this like very stereotypical position that men care about looks, women care about like resources and personality, all this other crap, right? But if a woman will sit there and talk to you for a prolonged period of time, like weeks or months, and then you're told that this person doesn't feel that way about you, I don't know what, like, isn't it very reasonable to assume it's because of your appearance? Because think about it, like, I'll give you an example. There have been multiple men I speak to on the computer, right, for like a month, 6 months, a year. And if I had one of those people ask to meet me in person to hang out in my state, I would say, yeah. But you see how, like, when you're able to see, like, I don't believe most people can just get a random person and talk to them for that long. So do you see where it starts to look like, yeah, this isn't really about wanting someone who you feel comfortable with and actually like spending time with. It's more so just you are a shallow bastard who has like a very specific criteria for the way someone's supposed to look. And then if they don't fit it, you just throw them away. They'll say, you have everything I want, a life partner, let's be friends. But you get the inference, right? That if they'll speak to you for that long, it's hard to believe that it's anything except appearance, because why else would you talk to someone for that long that you don't like? Look, computer clowns can write whatever they want, but a general thing of attraction is having someone that you enjoy doing things with. And I would look like a psychopath if I had a woman I spoke to for a year or 6 months, 8 months, uh, several times a week for hours just to say, oh, I only want this person as a friend. It's like, get out of here. Yeah, it's got to be looks. You preach acceptance while being met with intolerance. Such a profound saying. It resonates with many of us, like in the stream. Oh, thanks, Megumi. I appreciate it. I think they like the idea of that perfect man, but don't want to put in the effort a romantic relationship takes. Well, that's why I said it's so frustrating, because all you do is like compromise with them, and then you don't like. That's why I said I think something is wrong with chicks. Like, look, if you go up to somebody and they say no, whatever, but I'm talking specifically about ones where they sit there and they spend weeks or months gassing you up with all this fluff about how important you are to them just to dump you. And it's like, what was the point of that? So they want to keep them around like a pet or something. Well, that's why I don't like the friend zone, because according to men online, I'm a piece of garbage, right? Because I'm not with the woman. So if I'm so bad and these men who are with women are so great, why don't they just get a boyfriend and talk to him for the rest of their lives? You know, like why do you need to still speak to me? You see what I'm saying? Of how like when you contrast what happens to you with what people are saying online, it doesn't like add up. They're keeping their options open. I told you that like this guy said chicks are playing some three dimension. They're like he said they're like those people who play chess and they get and they're like they think they're very smart, but then when they have the opportunities to actually take out multiple pieces of the other person's board, they forget to do it. They don't know how to do it, or they don't realize it. On some time ago, explaining this circumstance really well. I hate to say it, but in my experience, there's just something in their brains that makes them averse to logic. Well, I told you that, you know, people will say you have a big ego if you try to say that people are mentally ill because they won't go on a date with you. And that's like what an idiot will think of, like me talking about it this way. But the nuance, right? Again, you go up to a woman, she says no, whatever. Person made a decision and wasting anybody's time. It's over as quick as it starts. But to sit there for weeks or months, and you've heard all the lies before. Oh, you mean so much to me, and I like speaking to you, and you're so funny, and then when this person who it's very clear you appear to enjoy spending time with, at least in this capacity, asks for a date where you don't have to hug, kiss, or do anything romantic with that person other than sit next to them. It just goes back to my point of how, like, you know, I think there's something wrong with them. It's just more and more years wasted getting rejected and red flags every year by, yeah. And like I said, the only reason people don't like this stuff doesn't get more attention is because it's not happening to the people that are actually cared about. Like, I don't mean to get political here, just as just an example, but um, I remember I used to do videos about the situation in Yemen where kids were getting starved to death while hospitals and grocery stores were being bombed, like the worst humanitarian crisis in the world. And like I actually had Americans who said they didn't care because it wasn't happening to them. So like there's a lot of people who just don't have empathy for something if it's not happening to them. It's due to time wasting, which is why it's like, what is the point? They amplify the problem by saying such nice things about you, getting your hopes up, just so they can turn you down and throw you away when being rejected. Yeah, that's why it's as bad as it is, because people like so often try to they don't like look at the nuance. They just say, "Oh, man's upset he got rejected." It's like, no, man is upset that woman sat there and spoke to him for weeks or months, told him how much she liked talking to him, and then well, let's also not forget a lot of times they leave out them having a partner already. And we even did a video about that. You can go watch it. It was called "Why Do Women with Boyfriends Like Talking to Me?" Um, and then you know, like you just have your time wasted over and over. You have these like that's why I called it romantic red herring. All this stuff that would make you think somebody likes you back is there, except the part where the person likes you back. You could hang out for months or years, going places, going doing activities together. She'll accept your gifts and whatnot, and then say you're like a bro, yeah. And this is worse when this same scenario has happened to you over and over and over, literally. James says, and these will be the same people asking for help if they were in a bad situation. Like, exact, dude, you know damn well if the US was getting bombed every like day or week, and we had hospitals and grocery stores getting destroyed by evil pricks and children being starved, you know damn well we would be at the UN demanding that other countries get involved. How could you be so heartless? I just feel so bad for Yemenis. They didn't do anything to deserve that. They had the Houthi rebels get rid of that government that was butt buddies with Saudi Arabia, and then we helped them out and just killing all these innocent people. And like I said, most people don't care because it's not happening to them. It's really sad. I even had the what's her name, Triple L, asked me if I had a relative that lived over there because of how much I talked about it. Like the only way you can care about this in her mind is if you have family that lives there. You can't just look at people getting massacred and say this is screwed up. Yeah, the worst humanitarian crisis in the world, and it doesn't even get talked about more often than not. And then the current president is trying to like show empathy towards it, but he was vice president when it started. So good luck getting me to believe that you actually care. We already talked about how like the romance stuff is a comic book. Like we got red herring, plot twist, recurring villains, these guys on the computer. Because another thing we discovered is that if I don't ban them, they just keep coming back trying to mess with me. Like we had one, we went over this before. We had one broad who in June of 2018 said she would never watch me again. Came and then December of like I think it was the year before last, she shows up on a stream. And then I'm doing a stream in like March or April, and she shows up this year, right? And she showed up again. I was like, go away. Like nobody cares about you. Nobody talked about you. You are nothing. You are worthless. And I don't feel bad saying that because I had a guy call me a mediocre man for being single. So, tit for tat. And she called me a psychopath. So for doing a video. So I don't feel bad calling that person that. Hey, it's tit for tat. Oh, you must be such a horrible person. That's why she rejected you. If that's the case, why do they end up wanting to keep speaking to me afterward? Dude, I've had so many, like one of these days, I want to just go in all of my accounts and just dig through my messages. There have been at least 5 attempts by women that rejected me to do the friend zone stuff. It's like, if you're so bad, why do they want to keep talking to you? Biden doesn't care about the Afghanistan situation. Instead of saying he messed up, he blamed it on them. Yeah. Well, we messed up. Look, the way you know he doesn't care is because he was like all of the conflicts that are currently going on in these foreign countries, the 7 of them, right? 5 of them originated while he was vice president. So the way you know he doesn't care is that most of them have been going on since he was in the White House in an underling position and didn't say anything beforehand. That reminds me, I was talking to a girl who voted for Biden about he and Obama bombed kids in Yemen, and she just brushed off like, okay, he made a mistake, people can change. Yeah, because like I said, if something doesn't happen to a person and it's like really screwed up, they don't care. Rand Paul really has pissed me off with his anti-vaxxer stance, but I'll always respect him for being one of the few politicians, period, that was like actively promoting getting out of Yemen. So, it's like I'm not good. That didn't like suddenly get erased just because he acts insane with the virus stuff. I remember this one person was like, how could you say this senator is to blame for this conflict just because he voted for it? Don't blame one man for a war. I'm like, he still contributed to it by voting for it. Megumi, have you noticed that like they always find a way to make it your fault? Like you don't get hired by a place. Oh, maybe it's your lack of experience or your resume. I'm like, I'm applying to work as a team member at a restaurant where they literally say the only thing you need for your experience is to have a smile. Like I tell you, they act, and that's why when I did the excrement employer videos, the point was to show what these positions were and how people were stupid for assuming that. They act like I'm applying to be CEO of Microsoft. So sick of those spam risk calls. And then with the voice actor thing, oh, do you pay your voice? I was like, dude, if I paid every person that worked on a video for me, that like just to read a piece of paper, my next stream will be me under a bridge. Like you get how insane it is that just the prospect of having to pay every single person that wants to do a voice on your thing. They believe, and especially it's like, what's the point of paying them if they're just going to quit anyway in like a year or so? Oh my, or if they don't do it, I'm just gonna get blamed anyway. They believe anything goes wrong in your life, it's your fault. Yeah. Just like the reason I don't feel bad for the dingbat with the baby, right? Is because I know if I did what she did and had a kid that I knew I couldn't afford, nobody, since I'm a male, would feel bad for me. They would all say, "Oh, you're an idiot. You destroyed this child's life. Because people don't care about men." I'm tired of Trump. He doesn't care about poor people and nobody's opinion. That's probably why he. Hey, I ever tell you that the one that was in "The Woman Tries to Control Me Fails Miserably" video actually said, and we talked about this before. She said that I can't get a date because I call women B word, the B word. And I was like, yeah, no rapper has ever had a girlfriend. They've all been single. And I told her to her face, so you're saying I'm worse than Hitler because I say the B word, right? Because Hitler had, you remember he had a girlfriend. And then she tried to say I was cherry picking by mentioning that women date serial killers and rapists and child predators. And it's like, well, the point is those are all worse things than calling somebody out of their name. So if people who do those worst things can still end up getting a woman to like them back, clearly calling someone the B word is not that offensive in terms of getting someone to like you back, or you're saying that it's worse than doing those things. That's a fact. When you're doing a crappy job as a mother, it's not your fault because you're disadvantaged due to patriarchy. But if you're a whack father, it's all your fault. Like I said, at one point, I'm just going to do a drawing of me just on a cross. all this crucifixion I've had. That's why I did the stream, the most blamed man of all time. It's funny too, because before the dingbat with the baby had the kid, it was like 2 or 3 years ago. I actually had one of my relatives say, "Oh, you should try to befriend this person. They need a friend." I was like, I don't care. Because again, it's like, it's not my job to make a person who treated me poorly at that time and still does feel better. You can see just how one-sided this stuff is towards guys in general. Absolutely ridiculous. Yeah, they always find a way to make you the perpetrator, even if you're the only one who tried to prevent the current result. That's why I said a lot of this stuff is just, what's the point? Like, what's the point of sitting here and actually addressing these things and speaking about it in a nuanced, complex manner, and then people just like accuse you of ridiculous stuff? Well, that person didn't get befriended; they got ignored. See, the history of me and that person is that we used to speak like here and there when I was in like middle school, because I mentioned I know them my entire life, and then when I was in high school, I would call them usually on the weekend, sometimes during the week, and they wouldn't answer. And this goes back to my thing of like these one-sided friendships or relationships where it's always that one person who makes it like actually progress. The other person doesn't do anything. So eventually I just got sick of it and then stopped calling them. And then they tried to, like, years later, when I was still pissed at them and this was the reason why I stopped even talking to them, say, "Oh, I was working." It's like, yeah. You want me to believe you were working at 15 and 14, uh-huh? I guess next thing you're going to do is going to try to sell a bridge to me, huh? I can't stand this society sometimes. Oh, what did Devon say for, because I see that James said LOL. Nobody's opinion. That's probably why. Oh, okay, he's laughing at what he wrote. Like I said, this woman stuff will drive any normal man insane. Like, you talk to the chicks who, if they actually were acting like people that were mentally all there, you know, they would just reject someone outright, or, it will be over very quickly, not, "Oh, let's talk for weeks or months so I can still reject you." Yeah, I was confused when I read that comment, so I didn't finish reading. I was like, huh? But we already know that, like with the romance stuff, people always write something that just perplexes everybody else. They always speak in riddles. Like the guy that came on the video talking about you should have did this when you were 16 and gotten a driver's license, and I'm like, who the hell can afford, like, I'm serious, I've never met anyone that is not wealthy that at 16 can afford like a car and their own place. Like what the hell? That's why it's like he knew his comment was insane. That's why he got rid of it. Because I came back on that video, it was gone. I didn't delete it because I was gonna screenshot it and laugh at it. Oh my god. People always write something wacky on this stuff. I mean, hey, that Ultra Instinct illiterate comment, I keep using that because of how goofy it was. I've never met you, but I know you have no degree and no financial balance. Even though a lot of people who get a degree actually have less money than people that have one because that don't have one because they have to spend a whole bunch on these different schools just so they can maybe get a job that pays worth a damn. You see how these expectations are imposed on guys even at the age of 16. They aren't even, dude, I remember like getting made fun of for being a virgin when I was in like 9th and 8th grade. Like that's why I said it's just always you know, it's always designed to like make you somehow less of a person because you didn't get a certain thing with a woman by a certain time. So it's always you know, people trying to find any way to put a man down anyway. That's why you can't operate off of society. Well, look, I mean, I just look at it like this, okay? If I was employed, I would just get made fun of for the position being like not some big, huge, massive. Because you know there are people that get made fun of for working at a restaurant or some other place, right? And then if you get a woman, people will make fun and it's like discovered online, right? People will make fun of the way she looks or some other thing, right? So it just that's why I said you really should not care what people say online because no matter what you do, they're just going to try to mock you over something because all they're going to do is just be antagonistic. That's why I said people on the computer act like villains. And I've seen them do this to other people who have more than me. They always find a way to like, you know, still try to insult you over something. So it's just, it really seems futile to even sit there and try to be concerned with what they think. I'll never understand mocking someone for having a low level job. Obviously, somebody has to do that job. I told you, man, it never stops. You don't have when they make fun of you for not being employed. You have when they make fun of you for it being low level. Like you just everybody has to be a millionaire. Everybody, like that's why I said I get so sick of just these really ridiculous, unrealistic expectations because not everyone can be a millionaire. Not everyone can, you know, have an 8-pack or whatever other physical regimen stuff these clowns are talking about. Like, it's just, you know, when you see people writing that stuff, you have to understand they're not dealing in reality. Like, most people do not have muscles. Most people don't have $1 million. Like, you know, this idea that you can do all of this stuff just because you feel like it, it's not true. Look at the gamers who make millions of dollars. Yeah, it's like they said, you know, that's why I think it's ironic that they just sit in front of a game and they get paid more than people that work. They won't make fun of a chick for reacting to videos from other content creators. Yeah. Well, I told you, women just get away with laziness and screwing up other people. Like, you know, they don't have the same call for accountability or attempt to pin everything on that person. I blame social media because people only post the fun parts of their lives. Well, see, that's what I thought was funny. That a lot of times on Valentine's Day, I go on Instagram, and just look at all these couples. Oh my God, my girlfriend is so amazing, and she did this for me, and I love her so much, and blah 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 blah. And I'm like, well, if she's so great, why does the whole internet need to know about this? But see, a lot of people do actually like persist in creating the fantasy of the perfect woman that just sweeps you off your feet and is so just terrific and all these different. But like I said, I don't see that in real life. I've never encountered some couple where I don't see them arguing or, you know, one of them's cheating on the other one. Like it, you know, I don't dispute that that might exist, but I don't see it. And it's like if you have to pick between a person that being with caused you to lose a bunch of money or being single, I'll pick the latter. Like I said, I just think romantic relationships are overrated. Like they're not as good as people try to make them out to be. That's mostly because women don't have to do anything and don't ever have to be held accountable for stuff. You gotta pay for her, gotta accept her for who she is. What does she have to do? I'll just have a triangle. That's why I think some men has the tendencies of a woman because in their head they think they can do what they want without getting in trouble. Flaunting on social media was always whack to me, like people posting themselves taking their moms out for Mother's Day. I don't need to prove to the internet that I love my mom. Yes, you do. And that'd be funny if Kane's mom had a YouTube account, like she posts comments and she's got a picture of Bibbidi, like he's Kid Boo and then she's Bibbidi or like Super Boo. And it follows the Majin trend. Some guys get off on that, and oh, I see. Don't know, just talking about the popular ones with earnings. ASMR as well, just speaking into a mic in a quiet tone of voice. Dude, I told you there's a broad that like I'll know it to this day. I still want to tear my hair out because like all she does is play games and talk in a really breathy, supposedly sexy, quiet voice. I'm like, what is attractive about that? It's just a voice. You know, it just drives me crazy. Like I understand the OnlyFans thing, like, oh, this woman's hot, but it's like it's just a voice. Oh my god, they don't have to do anything. And there actually are some talented voice actors, so it's not. This isn't just like making fun of people for making stuff with voices, but the idea that like someone who just comes online, makes their voice like this, gets thousands of views, just drives me nuts. And it's like again, I can understand if it was some hot, attractive chick that was so amazing, but it's like we don't even know what she looks like. Remember that there are a lot of guys who also pay for bathwater from chicks as well and stuff. Yet a guy who works in a restaurant in a bum in a is a bum because of his job position. Yeah, that's how backwards this stuff is. And I'm not hating on other people's kinks, but like all the chick has to do is take pictures of her feet, and dudes will drop mad money for it. Well, that's why it's so like again, I'm not in what's the way of saying it? I'm simply saying that when you know that people are able to make a bunch of coins from doing nothing because people like get off on it, it's really depressing. Again, I understand an attractive woman getting all these views, but just like a voice. I mean, I could do that. I could make videos and go, "Hello, today we'll be reading Action Comics #1." You know, like just that's nuts to me. I forget about that. LOL. Yeah, guys actually paid a lot of money for some bath water. Yeah, I didn't want to say her name. She doesn't need my free advertising. There was this one guy that made a movie, and then he was selling these like plushes for like $20. And this other guy made a video who was like, if he would sell you an ice tray, you would buy. And I'm just imagining these chicks actually get so lazy that they don't even feel like taking pictures of themselves anymore. They just take an ice tray and write them on it. It's like I can really picture them doing it. They're like, well, see, I don't feel like taking a picture of my feet or my hands or anything, so let me just get this ice tray, write my name on it. Here you go, $10. They buy an ice tray for like, and then like charge double the price just with their autograph on it. And it's not even written in like something that where it's not going to come off if you use the ice tray with their name. It's like it's written in crayon. I really could picture them doing that. They get so lazy, they don't even want to take pictures of themselves, and they just go in the freezer and they're like, "Here you go, $10." Oh my god! Or they can take a picture of their body. All a chick does to make money is come online, post pictures, speak into a mic in a low tone of voice. So it doesn't require any work. That's why I got so pissed off when that guy got mad that the guy was like making weird comments, but people. It's like I'm not trying to toot my own horn, but when I do an edited video, I write a script that's usually several paragraphs long and usually takes a few days to do because I'm trying to like think about it. I grab all these screenshots, you edit it like it, you record the voiceover without any stuttering, and then you have to edit the audio too. It's like there's a lot of effort that goes into this stuff. So it's like I'm not going to get compensated for doing that by anybody. And I'll ask anybody to compensate me, but it's like you get mad that I get compensated for that. But then some bimbo posts a picture of her behind, and like I don't see you going crazy and asking people why they donate to her. It's like it's just douchebag stuff. It's all the way to put it. Women keep saying there is always someone out there for you. Like I believe that false advertisement. Dude, I used to believe the same thing because, that's why I started like talking to all the different chicks that I did on these different websites. And it was just the same result over and over. They would either abruptly stop speaking to you, or they just like don't respond anymore out of nowhere. Like there's no last argument, they just stop responding. Or they say just want to be friends. Or some of them are insane enough that they go into the R for R section where it's supposed to be like a woman seeking a man, and they have a boyfriend. And I'm like, bimbo, why are you, I don't believe it. But I did a video called Stop Promising Me a Woman where I showed all the different like times people had said your soulmate and she's working on herself. I'm like, get out of here. That person doesn't exist. That's why I did the stream, She's Not Coming, because it's like, you're not going to keep convincing me in this magic broad when we meet chicks all the time that we're completely content with, at the very least going on a date with, and they show that they're not interested. So it's like, again, what's the point? Well, like, why spread this lie if every woman that this man is attracted to finds a way to like not actually do anything with him? You know what I mean? I've met a few chicks on dating chats who had boyfriends talking about she was looking for friends and convert. Yeah. I already told you there's like a weird I'm so used to saying the other one. There's like a weird erotic subtext if you're a single man talking to like any woman ever. Like just when I did the video on talking to like women that have boyfriends that talk to me, it's like I didn't know that they had him, and they don't mention that they have one just until out of nowhere after you've already spoken to them for some prolonged time. It's like this broad spoke to me for a month almost every day and didn't mention that she was with this man. And then out of like before that asked me for a picture of myself. It's like, why does a woman who has a boyfriend need to see what? And I didn't know at the time when she asked for it. It's like, I'm just sitting here talking to this person about films, and they're asking me for a picture of myself. And again, it's like, if I was a man who had a girlfriend and I'm talking to some woman on the computer about movies, wouldn't it look really weird if I out of nowhere asked her for a picture of herself? You see what I mean? Of how it's just like really strange. So many I've encountered just stop responding abruptly. So damn many. It's ridiculous and a huge weight. Yes. That drives me crazy. It's like, because they'll really get you to thinking that they like speaking to you, and then they just out of nowhere just stop. I had one unfriend me talking about, we didn't really vibe. I was like, what? So like, even without arguing with this person, like, no, I'm just not going to talk to you, whatever. Like, whatever, I'm just done with you. Just throw you out like some old coffee table. They'd be playing games though, calling me cute and sending winky faces, and then be like, by the way, I have a boyfriend, LOL. Yeah, it's weird. But again, it's like, what's the point? Like, what was the purpose of doing that? Imagine if a guy requested that and had a girlfriend, he would be ridiculed instantly by others online. Yeah, I'm telling you, if I made a video called, not called, but like if I made a video where I talked about how I'm on a website and this woman starts talking to me about movies and we're just talking about films, and out of nowhere I'm like, hey, can I get a picture of you? And then it's like on the account, it's known that I have a girlfriend. People would say, what the hell's wrong with you? But that's why I said there's like a weird erotic subtext if you're like a single man just with any woman you talk to. Like the thing with Triple L really irritated me because that was someone who I didn't make any romantic overtures towards rather. And then out of nowhere, she sends me this paragraph warning me that she's not looking for any. It's like, what the heck? And admits that I didn't say anything romantic to her, but because, I have the misfortune of being a straight male talking to a woman, I'm accused of trying to get with, because they all think they have these massive, enormous egos. They think every man that talks to them is like lusting after them. Like they all have these reverse gender harems. You don't even have to do anything. Euro, I told you about the biggest gold digger in U.S. history. How she for the whole first month she was so nice, and then for the second month she started begging me for money, and then her Autobot insignia turned purple. You got Megatron on her phone. He's like, "Make sure you beg him for money for the rest of the year." And then Starscream was like, if this was up to me, I would have been gotten all the coins from him. I want to. That needs to be like a parody video. Just have some chick that is like nice for a month, and then she's revealed to be a Decepticon, and she's like walking around with this blue boom box, and then you find out that Soundwave. Always got that red, blue, and black three jets flying above her, and you find out that's Starscream, Skywarp, and Thundercracker. And she has a gray gun, and then she like points it at you, and you get scared, and you start running, and then it transforms into Megatron. We've been found out for begging this man for coins. I have a question. Are these chicks human, or do they have some sort of strange mindset of playing games because guys are thirsty for them? I think they like playing games because a lot of them will sit there and talk to men they have like no interest in actually doing anything with. Just because they like the attention. Like the one that I didn't show the message where she confirmed it, but the one that said too many messages to handle in the what's the video called? The women's many options video. She had over 90 men apparently, again in this other message as part of the stuff, at like try to speak. It's like you're not going to talk to or do anything with most of these men, so why are you messaging them back? Again, like what's the point? Oh, they love attention. Why do you think the one that was talking to me about movies asked for a picture of me out of nowhere? It's like while she has a boyfriend, because they don't even believe in romance themselves. They just like getting all these men to talk to them, because they just like appearing to be single, because they know if they revealed they had a boyfriend, nobody would want to speak to them. They love attention. She'll be chatting with 10 dudes and then just cut them all off when she gets bored. And then get another 10. She's like, what's that show called? America's Next Top Model. Remember where every season they have like 9 or 10 different women all competing? That's what she does. She has 10 guys competing. And she might date one of them or do romantic stuff with one of them or none of them and then just get rid of them. And here comes a new set. Oh my God. They can brag about how many guys are trying to get with them. Yeah. Because they do like the attention. They're like, oh yeah, look at me. I have 8 guys right now today messaging me. The Bachelor in real life. Or Bachelorette. They just burn through guys so easily. And it's like, that's why I said the people who give advice on how to get a girlfriend, they never mention how many men are talking to them, because that would mean acknowledging there are factors out of your particular control that contribute to you not being successful. So that would entail actually admitting that it's not always or all the time your fault, which they can't do. Is it evil for them to leave? Yes, that's douchebag stuff. Look, when I was in 12th grade, I had a broad who said she liked me. She was overweight. She was stupid because she cheated on her test. I liked nothing about her. I told her up front, I am not interested. It is not hard to say you're not interested in somebody. And if it wasn't hard in real life to say you're not interested, it sure as hell isn't hard over the computer. But that's why I said you don't speak to someone you don't like back unless you just want attention. Like I've never met a chick where the first time I saw her, I didn't think she was attractive, but then after we continued speaking, I became so interested. It never has happened. It's always you see the person, you think they're hot, you try to talk to them. Dating advice always seems to be confident and be yourself. Women want a poly relationship now, they want lots of men. Hell, what else can these dating coaches say? You just need more confidence. I tell you, it doesn't matter what you do. As long as you're not with a woman, they're just going to accuse you of not having confidence because that's their their go-to catchphrase. Just accuse people of not having it. Yes, it's all the attention they really sought after, and when they aren't interested in someone romantically. Yeah, they look like a lot of them really do get off on just having these random men from all over the world trying to talk to them. Be confident. It works for me. Dude, listen, most of the guys who say that stuff in the comment section of these videos, they don't show their face. They don't show proof they're with a woman. I had a guy who I asked him, since he was talking about, oh, I have muscles, make a video. It's been, what, 2-3 months? So I haven't seen the video. Dude, out of my comment section, all those clowns are writing that romantic advice. Not a single one ever proved they're with a woman. Not one. They will never address the factors out of a guy's control ever. Yeah, because they want it to be your fault. They just say it in a different way in every video. Yeah, that guy talking about shadow work. I'm like, do you think I'm like, what's her name, Zatanna from DC? And I just like cast these spells and now I'm suddenly acting the way, like, what the hell? Why do you have to do work for a random woman that's not going to do anything other than be accepted by virtue of her gender? It's like they really think you're supposed to do all this stuff. So it's like, oh my God, that is insane. I'd rather take advice from middle-aged men. Well, I told you the only person in real life that tried to give me advice that actually like had a successful romance was my grandpa, because he was married for over 40 years. It's like everybody else, they've had like 5, 6, 7. If it's a woman, right? They have like 5, 6, 7 different boyfriends that they all broke up with. Or if it's a guy, he's been married maybe like one time and got divorced. Like most of the people giving this, and then there's this one guy, I'm not going to say his name, but you know what I'm talking about. He's got over 900,000 subs that people mention on every single stream I do now about this topic. He's been, from what I've heard, divorced twice. I'm like, how is that the person who's going to tell you about successful romances? Like, what is that? You know what I mean? Like, because this is my thing, right? If I went bankrupt twice and I start telling you how to, have a successful business, I would get laughed at. So it just seems strange to me that the people who are giving this advice, usually their own lives contradict their advice. Like, Kame, I had a guy who told me about, oh, you're young, wait for this woman, and if and I'm like, sir, I didn't say this to him, but it's like he told me he's been married 3 times. And then Triple L and all of her lunacy, sitting here telling somebody to wait 5, 10, 15 years for someone to like you back. This bimbo had 2 men try to marry her before she was 20, telling somebody to wait forever because they have a penis. they got to wait until the next century. But if you're a woman, you get men to like you forever, every year, constantly. Yeah, that's fair. And that's a rational thing to tell another human being. I hate that kind of advice given from people's experiences contradict their advice anyways. What kind of BS is that? A Megumi, imagine how insane you would look if you had two women before you were 20 ask you to marry you, like ask to marry you, right? And then you start telling men, well, just wait until you're 30 or 40, and then you can finally complain about chicks like wasting your time and saying no over and over. Like that's bimbo logic, you know, that stuff doesn't make any type of sense. Just like the dingbat with the baby. Back when me and her were on good terms, she said that you have to do work to get a relationship, and then she admits the guy that, like, you know, she's with, that I told you, you know, she ruined the life of. All he did to get with her was say he liked her. Hey, that's work, huh? Going up to somebody and saying you like them, all that took a lot of efforts. Bimbo logic from the lady lacking logic. That's the way to put it. Megumi's gonna have two women ask to marry him, and then he's gonna go around telling people they gotta wait 5, 10, 15 years so that one bastard with a triangle between their legs will like him back. That makes sense. And look, I'm fair. If any, like, if you told a woman she had to wait at 5, 10, 15 years for some random person with a banana to like her back, I would say that's ridiculous too. Like there's a time and place for everything. You shouldn't, it shouldn't take years to get somebody to like you back. Unless there's something wrong with people in general, which I think there is. How you doing, Jim? It seems like there's luck involved, at least when you're a man. Look, I just think this is my opinion, okay? And we've already been over it before, but I'll just give you the abridged version. I think 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, 70, 80 years ago, it was much easier to get a woman to like you back because you did not have to worry about social media and other men that she's not even going to do anything with competing with you. And that after the internet really started to take off, kind of in the early 2000s, especially in early 2010s, that's when it just became so goddamn impossible that you started to see these different romance groups get formed centering around men having a very ridiculous time getting a date. Why they always do that? You're talking about something, they ask you a question about your physical appearance as if it matters. Mm. A lot of women will say I'm cute, however, because I'm short. Well, I don't see any short women being told they'll never get a man to like them back because of their height. Mm. It's simple. If she's really interested in you, she'll date you. That's it. Yeah, like that's why I don't get these people that overcomplicate it. They're like, oh, well, if you do this and you do that, you'll increase your. It's like, again, I know men in real life, they don't do any of this stuff and they still end up with someone. It's insane to me. There was a poll not too long ago which indicated that a majority of women have higher standards than what they are able to provide. Oh man, we don't need a poll to know that. Like I said, that was the basis for me not taking the self-improvement stuff seriously, where the people you're being asked to improve for don't even meet their own standard, or the standard that is imposed by these men, like toward you. Become a millionaire to get a date. Oh, this woman doesn't have a pot to piss in. We got to become a millionaire. Get an 8-pack to get a date. Oh, she's never been to the gym her entire life. Well, she's got a triangle. It's okay. Don't meet the height requirement even if they are shorter than I. Yeah. I mean, you still wouldn't meet the wealth requirement either, even if you're richer than they are. Even if you're cute, nope, still rejected because you're short. I've seen some short get yeah, that's why I said I just don't believe it. Like I don't think there's anything a man can be like here my view is that if you have something that people will say is like not attractive, um if you didn't have that and you still weren't able to get with someone, they would just blame it on something else. Like if they said, "Oh, you're too short," if you were tall, they would just say, "Oh, you're too ugly," because that's what they've done to me in real life. You know, they just accuse you of being ugly. That's just and it's always your fault. There's always something about you that's lacking. Is the way to put it. Who is Niazine? These people have all kind of weird names. Niazine. I like how they always do that drive by type and they leave one weird random comment and they vanish. I hope that wasn't a guy. I don't want to deal with the homoeroticism of another man wondering what my attire is outside of when I do a stream or a video. Being 5'3" is brutal. Oh, they decided to come back. So look, I'll ask this since you know you're apparently actually going to address. You're not doing your drive-by typing. Well, my jacket actually isn't white, so not only are you incorrect, but you're also colorblind. And actually, if you look at the camera, it's a different shirt because I have one that buttons down the middle. But I'd love to know why my attire has anything to do with the points that are being made. That would be really wonderful to be informed of. If you would be so kind. Oh, and now he's hurling out racial slurs. Well, I told you the homoeroticism of other men, it always peers through. We had some guy earlier asking if I was doing the no fap challenge. You know, just it's always men that are the most like interested in what another man has on and how he looks. So if you don't ban them, they won't go away. They just stick around writing crazy stuff. So you don't care about the points being made honestly, but then you're on a stream where the points are being made. I don't care about racing. That's why I went to that NASCAR demonstration. Well, that's how we know you don't actually listen to what's being said. We've repeated multiple times that this is actually not about getting screwed. If I wanted to get screwed, I could just go and pay a prostitute. It's not that hard. I haven't uploaded videos for the past 10 years. So not only are you colorblind, you're also failing math. Hear what? How do you hear what's written? I'd love to know that. No, explain it. How do you hear what's written? Game, can you hear what's written? If I type something, can you hear it? Oh, it very much is weird, James. And remember, they always insult me, but they find a way to still stay after insulting me because apparently they like watching people that they don't that they, according to him, have not woken up. So apparently, not waking up is appealing to him because he's still watching. Mm. If you got text to speech, maybe. How do you pronounce this name? I'm going to use text to speech right now.
Niazine is.
I got Niazine worried about my attire. It's hard to not look away. Not really. If someone is doing a video you don't like, you can just click off. Yeah, they can never just go away. You're on a path in an inertia. What the dude? They always feel like if they use one big word, they sound so smart. You're on the path to an inertia of repeating the same expletive in streams with the same three dudes agreeing with you. So not only are you colorblind and failing math, actually we already proved you fail math. This looks like more than three people to me. I don't know what world where 13 is three, but maybe it's opposite day. I mean, 12 is 3 times 4, so maybe you're using that logic. But if you don't like the same thing being repeated again, then go watch somebody else. I mean, if you say so. I don't know how someone who's never met me would know how much I weigh, unless he's my physician. See, I told you the way you always know we're right is that they can never explain why what we're saying is incorrect. They have to go to these weird personal attacks on appearance and get caught up on like stuff that is strange, like, oh, you repeat the same stuff. It's like, well, so does basically everybody else that does the same type of content. They usually end up repeating things. Well, clearly you're saying we're like, apparently we're wrong if you have a problem with us repeating the same thing. I didn't know there was a limit on how many times you could say that stuff with chicks is ridiculous. Yeah, why does that matter to you? Like, why do I need to wear different outfits so that the great Nayazine will like me more? A person who, by the way, is so irrelevant and doesn't matter as to not comment on any single stream or video I've ever done before today. Trevor S. Like I said, these random guys come out of nowhere. Yeah, why do you care about how he dresses? No, it's creep pill is what it is. Imagine how gay I would look if I went around. I just watched this person today and they were wearing a jacket they wore in their other video. I mean, we have a few specific topics we discussed in this chat. Well, see, again, it's all, dude, listen, I talk about the news multiple times a week. I talk about cartoons sometimes as well. Like the idea that I only talk about romance, you have to be really insane to believe that. So we already know he's just typing, he's just lipping lies at this point. Yeah, the romance comic book, all these recurring villains. I encourage you to move on. Go watch somebody else. Like Niazine acts like I'm gonna go and buy 30 other shirts so that a person can come to my stream and now I guess be more attracted to me for me wearing something else. Move on, he says, as he refuses to move on from the channel of the person he claims to not like or is having a problem with. I didn't know there was a look for a shower. I could have sworn there was a smell. If you smell somebody and they smell bad, you would know they don't shower. But okay. But apparently you like men that don't shower if you're going to sit here and watch the person you claim has bad hygiene. So it's a little strange to me. Ye can't afford 30 shirts and not blowed up on stream in the same Macy's outfit. What's wrong with shopping at Macy's? Why do I? So you're upset that I won't spend a certain amount on a shirt? Like what? Nizine, you're right. I do always wear the same stuff. I apologize for being consistent. I apologize for having my own style. I didn't know that would upset other men on the computer so much. If you don't like the content, why are you here? Because they want attention. I didn't know I could hear comments that are written. Okay. You guys literally repeat yourself in these streams every week. You guys write the same thing, dear God. And you write it so much that I keep coming back. So apparently I like it when you write the same thing. Niazine is so mad that Justin has an iconic outfit and his own style. And Niazine attacks Justin's appearance because Niazine knows he's such a coward he can't get on the video and actually show his face like Justin does. Poor Niazine. And Niazine knows that Justin's right, which is why he can't actually address what he says and has to write comments about the way he looks, showing the homoeroticism of Niazine. Apparently it is iconic if you can remember me wearing it over and over. It's so easy to see why you don't get chicks anyways, peace. Keep crying about not getting women. Keep watching channels that you apparently don't like but keep coming back to. Dude, every time they make it seem like they're leaving, they always show up again. These recurring villains never stop. Just like that Tony guy, he wrote 5 paragraphs on my video talking about how bad I was, lacking respect, all this other trash. Dude, you're supposed to leave. Dude, this is how you know Trevor is mentally ill. He just said, it's so easy to see why you don't get chicks anyways, peace, like he's leaving, and then returns like not even 1 minute later. Is everyone not agreeing with your self-pity? Well, it's very homosexual to me to have another man worried about another man's appearance. I think that is kind of strange because I worry about chicks' appearance because I think chicks are attractive. But you said you didn't disagree with me, but I think it's strange to like be a man and be upset and write paragraphs about the way another man looks. Yeah. You need to change so I can stop watching you. Apparently what I'm doing works if you've been watching me long enough to know I say the same thing over and over, right? Like, how does a formula not work if it gets you to keep coming back? Where do these people come from? They just write all kind of like crazy stuff. Self-pity. I didn't tell you to feel sorry for me. Oh my gosh, Guri, is you wearing the same outfit again? You need to change. Even though when you didn't change, I kept watching you, which apparently shows that the way you were worked because it enticed me as a viewer. Dude, this is like well, I guess every Batman film has 2 villains after 89. This is like the dark, this is like a ghetto version of the Dark Knight. You got Joker saying that somebody needs to change. Then you got Trevor saying he's going to leave, and then he comes back not even 2 minutes later. It's weird. The recurring villains have to team up today. And you notice they showed up at the same time. Why does another man care about my weight? Are you upset that you're gonna have to feed me or something? Like, what the hell? And if I was 500 pounds larger, wouldn't I not be able to wear the same thing? Like, what? It's just no logic. I don't personally hate him. He needs guidance. Yeah. What will I ever do without the great Niazine? He's so accomplished. I bet he's drowning in women. They're all seeking him out. I think this is his way of venting his frustration that he can't have you because you like women. Yeah. Good for you. That's why you watch someone that doesn't, right? That makes sense. They were always here just watching. They're just commenting now. Nah, those recurring villains came at the same time. No one needs your guidance, you self-righteous. Now leave like you said you were gonna do. Go back to Reddit. How will I ever go on knowing that the great Niazine would not guide me? Don't make a promise you can't keep, Niazine. I would hate for you to write your 30th comment. How many comments was that? Let's count. Well, okay, Niazine first and the other clown later. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, 30, 31, 32, 33, 34, 35, 30, Jesus Christ, 37, 38. Well, hurry up and go. Then you said you were going to leave a little while ago. No one cares. Like maybe I would care about getting different outfits if it was women complaining about me wearing something. Like if they said, I will date you if you don't wear this. But like I'm not trying to attract other men, so I don't really care. And it doesn't bother me if other men don't find me attractive. I'm not trying to date them. Yeah, Brandon, they teamed up. Dude, you notice they came in at the same time. They're like, let's do it. Let's double team them. That's why my best friend said that the trolls online, they have the same mentality as those girls that get with a guy and they think they're going to change him. They act like they're going to change me. That's why we said it's homoeroticism. Where's the other one? Did he finally leave? Oh yes, at last. He actually kept his word for once. These two guys getting upset as he's back. Can you go? Oh my God. We on to you. Oh, I'm so scared. We always know it's the people that hide their face that are the scariest. It's always the guys that don't show what they look like. They're like, I got this woman right under my arms. I know what to do. Like, I'm about to buy a bunch of other clothes so you can keep writing nasty comments or not watching. Are you crazy? Okay, good. No man on here is going to argue about some clothes. They don't even do that to women is the crazy thing. Like, I've seen like women do streams and I've like, there's no guys and they're like, I want her to wear something else. She always does her streams in her pajamas. It's all the homoeroticism of men talking about the way another man looks. It never gets old. Give us some dating advice, player. Yeah. Told you that none of them ever prove they're with a woman. They just write nasty stuff. Pay them no mind. They are not being serious. Well, yeah, that's why we were laughing at them. Megumi's comment got hidden where he said idiots. Dude, I told you that it will never make sense to me how men are more upset about the love life of a straight man than women. That is always going to just blow my mind. Well, it looks like I got to go to Walmart and buy some more shirts so that the great Niazine will like my attire for once. Also, I've been watching for a year now and haven't seen you gain a single. Dude, look, I've actually in the last 3 years lost weight. Is ironic enough, but I was never overweight to begin with. That's just a stupid little homoerotic thing that other men say about men. This is actually beige, but whatever. Colorblind, got his math wrong. All the marks were off. Why won't he go away? Listen, you know what? We're not even gonna call Niazine that name. We're just gonna call him Frieza because this is now an anime. Frieza, can you leave? Frieza, can you leave? Please? Please? Can you go, Frieza? Like, Resurrection F is over. These are straight men talking about the cheeks and the weight they believe another man gained. Like, dude, guys, he's actually written over 3 paragraphs about me now. And calling me a racial slur. So now we know he's a Klansman too. Told you, these romance guys are worthless. They're racist. They don't prove that they're actually with the woman. They're antagonistic for no goddamn reason. There are plenty of men who say things about women I don't agree with, and I don't find, I guess, attractive, but you don't see me harassing them. They are nothing. They have no value whatsoever. They bring nothing to the conversation. We were in here talking like statesmen during that first hour, and now he's over here talking like some monkey in the zoo about racial slurs and this person gained weight. Like, who cares? And I saw you wearing this jacket last week. I must have 10 jackets, so this guy will finally write comments on the video, huh? And actually address what we're saying. Yeah, this isn't a trash TV talk show, and you really should have been banned after you wrote that first racial slur. But nobody was talking about not having sex. I mean, it really seems like you guys are trying to have sex with me. You're over here assessing the size of my body and what attire I have on. And look, I'm just not interested in you. I don't want Niazine. I don't want Trevor. And you'll be rejected by me forever. I'm sure you do. At least you finally admitted it. That's why I said we were in here talking like statesmen, having this adult conversation, and we got this guy coming in here calling people out of their name and saying the N-word and attacking people over their physical appearance. Like this is some trash TV talk show. Look, you go on TV right now, you can probably find a Jerry Springer rerun. Go watch that instead of the stream. I hope he's gone. I really do. Dude, the reason Trevor was talking about me having like I don't look like I showers because he actually wants to take a bath with me. Because why else would he mention that? Well, guys, for you means gay, unoriginal, yucky sickos. that's what guys for you is. Like you write homoerotic stuff, and then you get mad when we call your bluff. We were all in here having a cordial conversation like adults, and then with the circus act. I told you these men act like villains. Having a disagreement on here is not new. All you have to do is say, I don't agree with you on this because of whatever reason. But you're going to come in here talking about somebody weighs that. Dude, you think every woman is skinny? I can show you a poll that 4 in 5 African American women are overweight. But you won't see the great Niazine assess any of them. Because remember, women are all perfect. Now, don't try to talk professional now. We saw that routine you did earlier. Go back to acting like an anime villain. He cares so much about Justin, he can't even leave the stream, even when he said twice he would leave. I mean, at least Trevor, the bath inspector, actually left. I hope I never see either one of you again, because then that's going to mean that you like this type of. Because they always do. They're like, this is so redundant, but then they keep showing up. Does anybody remember Tony? That guy wrote a really nasty comment. I'm redundant, and then the next stream I did, he was there, and then it was like on several streams after that too. I was like, what? Why do you do this? If someone is not good and they're not entertaining and they repeat themselves, like, why are you here? Most chicks aren't in shape, same for men. Dude, imagine like having to have an 8-pack to date somebody that's 300 pounds. Like how insane that is. You said you're on a path to an inertia of repeating the same thing, yet you're doing the same thing. Oh my God. No, repeating the same thing is talking to a bunch of women that don't like you over and over again. I can never understand these guys. I'm so angry that they're having a dialogue where everyone is acting decent toward each other. Let me get in there and get upset. If this idiot thinks you have to have a 6-pack to be fit, his head will go in whiplash when he meets Russian bodybuilders. Sumo wrestling. No, you are indeed creepy. So you would never catch me dead going on somebody's stream. This man has been wearing this outfit for a while. I've noticed that. Never would happen. I don't go around inspecting men's clothes. I don't care. I see a lot of Kane. I mentioned that before, that there's like, I still have the picture from the woman's wedding where like the woman is overweight and the guy is like really skinny. And me and my best friend would laugh at that because it's like, you can't sit here and tell somebody to be in shape for women that a lot of times are not in shape themselves, and especially in such an extreme case. Like, that's ridiculous. Only reason I'll show pictures because I don't like to talk. Well, I'm not like my detractors. I don't like to talk about the way people look. I like to actually criticize behavior because I understand that looks is in the eye of the beholder. And also, I'm trying to address people's character and the nasty things that they do. Well, what's worse, repeating the same thing over and over, or having someone troll you for no reason other than critiquing someone's looks? I just don't know what the point of that was. Like, does he really think I'm gonna go, oh man, this guy wrote something about my attire? Oh. Like, you really think you're the first person on here that wrote something nasty about my stuff, even though I did a video showing that everything you could say about me has already been said. I have been criticized for everything. And I don't change because I don't owe you anything. Yeah. I told you, if you don't ban these people, they never leave. This guy has written over 40 comments. Yeah, but it's supposedly straight guys critiquing the attire of another straight man. Right, and it's like it starts to become numb after a while because, like I said, they will attack you over anything else. Like if it wasn't my attire, they would just say, "What? Why do you wear glasses?" You know, that just all they do is just find something to nitpick you over. If you ban him, I'm being censored. Yeah, because remember, if you're a streamer, you're supposed to put up with every nasty thing that's written on your stuff. And then when people don't leave after you politely ask them to leave because they're not contributing anything other than being nasty and um, taken away from the topic, you know, you're somehow censoring people. How many different outfits is the person supposed to have anyway? Well, remember we went over this. I was like, I record on Monday, and Saturday normally, and then sometimes Wednesday. It's like, why do I need to wear 15 different shirts for 7 videos when 5 of them are recorded on the same day? Like, what the hell? No, I'm just mad I got an iconic outfit. I'll tell you, I have been criticized for being consistent. They are angry when people act the same way. They don't like it when you actually, do things that are in line with what you said before. Yeah, at least we got. Isn't that how the Batman movies go? One of the villains dies, the other one like still lives. You ever notice that they have one die, the other one sticks around? I really hope he actually left because he had a real obsession with whatever he believed me to bathe or whatever. It's weird. Seriously, why the hell do these internet losers tie so much of their self-worth into their? I don't know, man. But apparently, me wearing the same thing doesn't bother him because he's still here. And like you read his comments, it infers that he's watched me before. So yeah, wearing the same outfit, it doesn't matter because he still keeps on watching. Oh, good. I hope he stays gone. I hope he doesn't become another recurring villain. They are really trying to turn YouTube into a comic book. That is crazy. Like you got the plot twist with the chicks, which stopped being a plot twist because they do the same thing over and over. But it's a plot twist because they sometimes act normal and then they start acting ridiculous after you ask them on a date. You got the recurring villains of the guys in the computer. And it's like I used to think it was just like somebody writes a nasty comment and they never come back. These guys actually, if you don't ban them, they will keep coming back. You have retcons where they try to pretend that what happened before didn't occur. Like when he's lying about me making content for 10 years, which I didn't do. I've never really had a problem. But this is my thing. It's like, what does that, like, I'm serious. I don't watch anyone's content and just like, how often do they wear this outfit? What the hell? The only time I might sit there and actually assess someone's attire is if it's like a woman I think is really hot or something. That's the only time. Even then, usually it's just like, oh, they have a different hairstyle. But I still don't say anything, Dude, they act like YouTube is both a comic book and like Playboy magazine or something. Like I'm gonna start posing for these people. Well, do you honestly believe? I mean, my thing is this: it's like for me, I have a different shirt I pick out for each day of the week that I know in advance I'm gonna wear, so I don't have to sit in front of the closet trying to figure out what. It's like, I'm not gonna sit here and get a whole bunch of different shirts for streams when, like, what's the point of that? Especially when you know these people are just gonna complain about something else. So don't ever try to please anybody on the computer because they cannot be tamed. As soon as one of them likes something, another one will attack you over something else. That was more. If you need proof of that, go watch the "I've been criticized for everything" video. Yeah, they have a window into your soul. They know what stuff you wear, and if you bathe or not. It's like you're really gonna accuse a grown man of not showering, a man you've never met before. Let me see where the other guy's stuff go. You don't even look like you shower, man. What is like? So everybody who showers has like the same look. Like, what does that even mean? Hey, isn't there like there's a character in some I think it's in Peanuts where like they have like stink coming off of them. Like, am I supposed to look like that character? Trolls, James, you guys literally, I'm reading Trevor's comments. You guys literally repeat yourself in these streams every week, but apparently he watches us every week to know that. So he likes the repetition. These guys probably look at your thumbnails. No, you know what? I know it's not just a thumbnail because he said we were like both of them had a theme of you repeat the same stuff. So they both watched or have watched me repeatedly. I think it's also funny to criticize the appearance of someone. Yeah, if you're so damn hot and in shape, show us some damn proof. Hey, sir, listen, this isn't the YMCA. If you're not going to actually write anything that is productive, like just go. Like you say, we're repeating the same stuff. Oh my God! But then you keep watching, so you like the same stuff being repeated. Toy, they never leave. Oh man, I'm about to go off here in like 10 minutes anyway, so why haven't I seen them comment then? Well, you know, a lot of these people, you know, how they are. They don't write anything. They just lurk. Like the guy that was saying I was a mediocre man, act like he had been subscribed to me for 2 years. I went and looked at my thing later, and then he hadn't written a single comment except for one time in that whole like period. It's called discussing a topic. Do you know what the topic is, Trevor? Dude, the only Trevor that's worth the damn is Steve Trevor. All the other ones just total garbage. They don't add anything to anything ever. Dude, they're all trying to be like real life versions of the Akatsuki. I could really picture him and that other guy just sitting up in a dark room wearing these black coats. They're like, we were watching his video today and we noticed a similar occurrence. Because remember, that's how the Akatsuki work. They have two members together. That's what they are. Dude, I think we are better off never knowing what these guys go through their mind. But see, like I said, he's writing nonsense now. Why do we need to know if you're naked or not? And again, if they get banned, my free speech. I mean, remember, I'm not on their channel; they're on my channel. They worry about me, not the other way around. They have a completely one-sided relationship with me. You don't see me talking about what they wear, if they have an avatar, if they're with a woman, because we don't care. Which is worse, having a supposedly repetitive discussion. We're sitting and watching said repetitive discussion and not saying anything like a creep. Dude, you know, I think it's funny. Like a lot of the new trolls, they're like really, they're more knowledgeable of me than they want to be given credit for. Like with the Tony guy, he was like, "Oh, you remember the Discords?" Like they always bring up something that the way they speak, like they try to come off as if they're just this random person that is so turned off by what's being made. But then at the same time, they're like also knowledgeable enough of me to have multiple like recollections of what I've said before. Like it's so crazy, it clashes. Like I'm just a random person that finds stuff it's so disturbing, whatever. But then I'm also someone who watches you over and over. Again, the only Jericho that's worth the piss is Chris Jericho. Go leave. Just go. This would be like going to a forum discussing Dragon Ball Z and getting mad that everyone's talking about the same. Yeah, over there they talk about the same stuff over and over, and nobody gets mad at them. Like, go somewhere else if you want to talk about. Yeah, they act like YouTube is just Tube. Like I'm the only channel on here. There is nothing I do that nobody else is doing. They be like, I hate this so much. I watch it every day. Now I better be careful about Matt and these other men. They might try to do something to me. I just had one of them admit they watched me naked. I had another one trying to like inspect how much I shower. This other one's talking about one of my sibling for some reason. It's all weird. Again, more proof that they watch me. Dude, on the Dragon Ball forum, they actually do get pretty creative. So are you just going to keep typing the same lie over and over? I think he's drive-by typing because he hasn't written anything else in like 2 minutes. We'll see if he writes something else. We'll see if his ridiculousness is expanded upon. Of course, James. You remember on the World Without Heroes 2 stream, we finally like banned that guy, and then like 2 minutes later, another account we've never seen before says, "You run your channel like a dictatorship, F you." You remember? No, it's like people do not just randomly appear like that. They organize this stuff. They have one or two guys get together and say, "We're going to go screw with this person." No, he's not even cool enough to be his own Decepticon. He's like one of the Constructicons. Well, if you would do any tiny bit of research, you would know that's not the case. But whatever. It's just you guys start. It's funny. You accuse men of like crying about not getting something, but then you cry about getting banned from one channel, as if you can't write stuff on your own channel or on anybody else's. Yeah, Brandon, don't even like we don't need to explain that to these people. You can't ban me. That would be mean. Well, the stuff. So wait a second. Me banning you is mean, but you accusing me of gaining 500 pounds and focusing on my attire when I'm talking about something is not mean. Okay. And claiming that I need guidance. These are not nasty things to say to somebody. Okay. The other one really just left a weird comment, and like that's what I'm saying. They love drive-by typing, but again, they usually have been doing it more on videos than on streams. We don't owe you a platform here. You're only here because we've allowed you to be. Yeah, like why? And again, this is the platform that is so repetitive, but he keeps typing. So apparently, he likes the repetitive platform. Well, we're waiting on him to explain whose younger brother he was talking about. I guess that must be really fun, just like typing weird comments and then waiting for people to understand what you're saying. Like Gerds did that all the time, just like typing random weird stuff, and then we would wait for him to explain it, and he would just keep writing more strange stuff. Says he left. Thank God. Get lost. I don't even usually check the participants tab because usually I just do the stream. It honestly is fun. I used to troll back in the day, but there comes a point where you get too old for that. I guess what's annoying to me is that you're having a conversation with people where no one's like acting insane, and then somebody comes and like starts focusing on stuff that has nothing to do with what we're talking about. Just it breaks up the flow and the chemistry of the conversation. That's more so why it's annoying to me. Like if they do it on a video, whatever, I just ignore it. But they've had a resurgence on streams. I wanted to know what the guy was. Yeah. Well, again, they just drive by type. Well, this was a weird stream, but I always think, what was their motive? What the hell was he even talking about? Told you they love typing in riddles. All these recurring villains. I don't know what the point of it was. I think they just want attention because, like, they know that when they go on a lot of these other people's channels and they write a comment that doesn't have a donation at the end of it, they get ignored. It's just really sad that, like, we all have these different issues in real life, and then you come online and you just like talk about something in a civilized manner, even with people that don't agree with you, and then as you're doing that, you have these individuals just show up and start attacking the host over, like the same overdone stuff. They type that stuff because they know it's going to garner attention. Yeah. But I just don't know what it accomplishes. Like they're not writing anything new. The real question is, how did they end up here in the? Because listen, guys online love to pretend that they're all drowning in women. Oh my God, I'm so much better than you. But you notice they don't show their faces, right? You notice they don't have any videos usually, right? They're not exactly that much better off or better off at all. It's just a little image they like to portray. Because that one guy that did that video that showed that he had a girlfriend, I've never seen him on my channel telling me to do this and do that. I'd have to go in my subscription tab and look. I'll do that later, probably. But again, man, it's like they don't matter. Like, when do you ever see these people comment on anything I do? Like, oh, we're so tired of the romance stuff. Do a political video. Oh, no comment. Do a Dragon Ball video. Oh, no comment. So it's like, like if they wanted something different, they could have came here on Saturday. I got a good laugh out of it, but it got old pretty quick. Yeah, because they just type like nasty stuff, and then it doesn't really do anything other than annoy people after some time. Anyways, I'm about to get off of here. We've gone for 2 hours and a half, which is about the length of the other stream. So I might stream on Wednesday. I'm gonna try to make an edited game video this week. I've never done one of those before. So thanks for showing up, most people, and have a good day.